Probably in his bed. Hey guys, I am Angela. I am Riddick's mom. I don't know if I can show him to you real quick. He's pretty well known. I'm obviously here to talk about his journey. For those that don't know, Riddick is mine and Michael's rainbow baby. We had him after we had lost our son MJ at 7 weeks old back in 2014. And yeah, I mean, everything was fine with him. Pregnancy went well. He was 6 days late, and I had to have him emergency C-section. He decided to come out hand, foot first, and I don't know. He's so cute.
It was pretty hairy. They had a lot of pulse dropping.
Yeah.
Oxygen levels were down really bad.
His oxygen, because every contraction I had, his heart rate was dropping and stuff like that. So they had to give me a shot, whatever, to stop my contractions. And then we did the emergency C-section. Everything was fine, He was good. I think, when did he get diagnosed? Or start noticing?
He got diagnosed we started noticing around a year old. He got diagnosed at 2.
Right around a year old, we started noticing like autism signs with him. He wasn't talking, he wasn't walking. He I don't know, his physical therapist and everybody from early intervention got us to go to the state where they actually do the testing, and he was diagnosed obviously with autism. We didn't get a level or anything. I'm not sure how that works. And then he's still nonverbal. I'm hoping one day that he will still talk. And you gotta turn that down. And I forget where I left off. He didn't walk till I think around 18 months. Then he was also, like, besides the autism and stuff like that, we found out, we did a whole bunch of genetic testing to try to figure out what was wrong with him. If you guys keep seeing me look over, I'm looking at him, sorry. But we did a whole bunch of full spectrum tests with his father's blood and mine to try to figure out what was wrong with him. At first they were thinking something like Hunter syndrome, which is deadly. Like, eventually he would have passed away. And he ended up finding out that he had severe cervical kyphosis. And, like, I love and adore his physical therapist because she knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's doing. She was the one the whole time to tell us, like, with the whole autism thing, she knew. And when it came to the cervical kyphosis, she knew as well. Like, she didn't know exactly that was it, but she knew something was wrong with his spine. And it took a while, but eventually we got the doctors to listen to her to get a referral in for imaging. And yeah, we had to change doctors, neurologists at first, because the one that we had didn't believe us, that they didn't think anything was wrong with him besides the autism. Knowing he had a big, on the right side of his neck in the back, it was a big bump that, like, hunched out. And so pretty much his spinal cord was compressed in C-shaped. And eventually, if it doesn't get fixed, it leads to death. So thankfully, like, it would have, had he have just done it to begin with, he would have been, a lot better than what he was. But his got to be severe. So thankfully, we got it all figured out in time. Ended up going to Boston after we got the referral. Sorry for jumping around, guys. I'm nervous, But so yeah. We went and seen his orthopedic doctor out in Boston, And it was definitely confirmed. Obviously, he had it. Yeah, and his doctor is #1 in the world for 99% of the world goes and sees this doctor out in Boston. And yeah, I kind of look at it as obviously he saved my kid's life because besides the physical therapist, nobody else knew what was wrong with him. Doing all this genetic testing to try to figure it out, and obviously it wasn't in genetics because it's nothing genetic. And yeah, so after being diagnosed, it was like 5 or 6 months, I think, until his actual surgery. We went in on January 6th, and he got his halo put in. Spent 2 months at Boston Children's Hospital, and that was a trip in its own. I really wish I could see your guys' comments. Just trying to make sure I don't repeat myself or go too far forward and try to get my thoughts here. The first couple of weeks at Boston were hell. Excuse my language, but like us, the parents, you know your child, and everybody, not the doctor. The doctor, I have nothing bad to say about him, but when you just don't get listened to about your own child, instead of making them go through all this, do this because this isn't going to work. But he had to suffer and be in pain with a lot of things, and until they finally figured it out for themselves and did it the way we originally told them to. He does have neurological issues a little bit from the spinal cord being compressed and C-shaped. So makes it a little bit harder. We're still trying to teach him sign language and stuff like that, but with the ADHD, the autism, neurological stuff, it definitely makes it harder for him to focus. Like, don't get me wrong, he's a very smart kid, but it just takes a little bit more time, and I don't know. Oh, okay, hold on. Sorry, guys. Hit a button. And, yeah, he, got his halo off last Friday. Like I said, I want to bounce all over the place, so sorry. And they keep the kids awake when they do that. He had 8 screws in his head because he was so young. So he got that. He's in this little neck brace he's got to wear. We go back in 6 weeks. He's got to wear this the full 6 weeks, 24/7. We got another one to change out of if he's laying down, if it gets wet in the shower or something like that. And yeah, it's definitely been long and hard, And again, I apologize for being all over the place, and it doesn't help that I don't see the comments that well either. But anyway, I skipped a whole bunch of other things too. It was in the book bag. Yeah, so, and especially with this COVID thing going on, I can't do it right now, baby. We were supposed to be doing the physical, occupational, and speech over the internet, but for some reason, because I live out in the middle of the country, I'm assuming the internet's just a little bit more shoddy here, So he's been, both him and Winter, his little sister, have been without therapy since December. And, I'm no expert, but I do what I can try to do, And as of now, he's not allowed to do neck strengthening or anything like that because of his neck and stuff.
I can't use this here. It's too big.
Thank you, Michelle. And so, I mean, I hope it gets over with soon, because I was terrified to go to Boston because everybody goes there, and I was surprised for how dead it was there when we just went this last Friday, because Riddick, no, baby. I was thinking it was going to be more packed. The place at 4 in the morning is crazy, you know. So,
Sending too much off it.
yeah, and I don't know. Sorry, I'm trying to get to the thing so I can see your guys' comments too to help me a little bit on this. And I'm in the room with him now because obviously we got to make sure he don't trip and fall. So if it's loud, sorry about that. But when he did get it removed on Friday, like I had kind of figured, obviously he's had this on since January, for months now, that he would have a little bit of issues walking by himself, you know. And the doctor didn't tell us till after the removal. And then I confirmed it with his physical therapist. Like I said, I trust that woman over anybody because she's known everything. She was always right with him. She's always cared, stuff like that. And, you know, she confirmed it. She's like, oh, yeah, he's not going to be able to balance himself or walk for quite a few weeks, you know, if not longer, because he's pretty much going to have to learn to do it all over again. And it took him forever to do it to begin with, you know. It took over 2 years, and I cried, you know, because he's just gotten his halo off, stuff like that. This is his time to go back to him and be that happy little boy again. I wasn't expecting all of that to happen. So, it was hard, but I'll tell you what, within 4 hours after all them tears and worries and, you know, just heartbroken, he was walking and jumping, running, like, so, but then 4 hours were the hardest, and thank God, you know, he bounced back to himself, because I didn't want that for him. He's had you know, the hands dealt to him haven't been that fair in his short 3 years of living, you know. And honestly, between his Riddicks Journey page on Facebook and, you know, these autism pages that Nita has, I don't know how I would have gotten through before Boston and even during Boston, because, well, obviously you, but the words of encouragement and support and stuff like that definitely help, you know. Like, it was a very sad, depressing, hard time for us, you know. And
you're gonna have to go on my page because I shared it.
Okay.
So you can see.
I'm trying to pop the comments up now, guys. Sorry. But give me 1 second, guys. I'm trying to get onto the tablet. Yeah, the good news, you know, again, off subject, once this whole COVID thing's over, he turned 3 in Boston, so he's already out of the early intervention, and he'll be going into the school system, which means he'll get a new speech therapist. Thank God.
This year, but
he would have started, you know, he would have already been in it this January that had just passed, but we were in Boston, and then all of this happened too, so.
It won't let me.
Oh, turn that down. Hold on, guys. Sorry.
It's not letting me turn it down. Why isn't it not letting me turn it down?
This is going. Sorry. Bear with me.
It won't let me turn it down. There it goes.
Okay. I just want to answer you guys' comments or questions, whatever. But I'm happy to get him a new speech therapist, because I'm not saying the one that he had was bad. It just, she didn't work for him the year and a half that we had her. He's had 2 in the last 2 years. The first one we had to fire because she decided to physically restrain him in his own house, you know.
And she was only here for eating.
She was only here for eating too, because we don't know if it was because of the kyphosis to where he had swallowing issues or if it was just the autism with texture. So he's got to do a swallow study still too. They wanted to get his neck straightened out first before that. So we got a lot of appointments coming up for him besides Boston. We have to go to New Hampshire and we have to go to other places in Vermont for him. Like there's a lot to do. All right, let me look at your comments real quick. We had ABA Lee, and unfortunately, I wouldn't say we fired. I guess we fired them because the woman that was working, she did wonders with him. This woman, like, she was the best, but she did not like the place that she had worked for, and she had found another job, and she pretty much told all of her clients to pull their kids out because it was just that horrible. Like the woman that helped run the place came once a week to the houses with her, and she would sit there, and you think after 6 months of coming into my house, seeing me once a week, and would get my name right. She'd come in, she'd be like, "Oh, hey, Ashley, how are you doing?" And she wouldn't pay. She didn't know my name right. She couldn't. She just wasn't watching. She sat on her laptop the whole time, and anytime she heard me or the woman cheer for Riddick for something that he did, she's like, "Oh, yay! What did he do?" You know. And unfortunately, living in a small area, it's the only person we have is that one company for ABA. So, I'm hoping things will change, or maybe they'll get a competitor because, like I said, that woman did amazing with him. She did things other people couldn't get him to do, you know. And let's see, ABA.
He wanted us to cut everybody out too. He wanted us to get rid of early intervention altogether.
Yeah, ABA wanted us to get rid of early intervention altogether and just work with them, and we're like, no, you know, we would have been screwed had we have done that. Cervical kyphosis, exactly. Like, it's kind of like scoliosis, like how they explain it to us, and it's the same as kind of like hunchback syndrome. Like you see them older people that get hunchback, stuff like that, but it's in the neck. So, and it doesn't help that my kid has short neck syndrome as it is. He don't have much of a neck, but like I said, it's where your spinal cord gets compressed and it goes. His ended up C-shaped. So eventually, if you don't get it fixed, you
lose all functions.
Yeah, you lose all functions. It won't tell your lungs to breathe or blood to circulate through the body, stuff like that. You suffer neurological damage and then eventually death, you know. And yeah, and he was the only one in Boston that really had kyphosis. All the other kids there's 2 twins, five. They were there to get their halos on for scoliosis. So it's kind of similar in a way, just different parts, if that makes sense to you. And Riddick, like I said, besides in 4 hours after he got it removed, he has bounced right back to himself. No, Winter. Hold on, my daughter's chewing on the wire. No. And yeah, now he's running, jumping, climbing, doing everything he should be doing, you know. Sorry, my kids are all over the place. That's why I got Daddy in here to try to help. And
let's go hang out in your bed.
yeah, so he's got the neck brace, and like I said, you got to wear it for another. He's got to wear it for another 6 weeks. I'm sure they're going to do another image come that time, make sure everything's good and getting it taken off. He actually got his halo and vest taken off 3.5, 4 weeks early. So, and I was glad for it to come off. Honestly, he looked like a different child. I was so used to him with, you know, wearing it since January. I forgot what he looked like without it. So he looked so tiny, but it felt so good to be able to hold him again without that vest, like skin to skin. And like, side note, you really do get internal bruises from all that metal that, you know, on your chest or your arm, wherever you're holding them from. I actually chipped the front tooth from the things that stick up on the halo. Like, it was miserable. It was miserable for everybody. And we got to go through it all again with my daughter for something that's not genetic. We got doubled whammied with it. And I'm assuming coming late this year, early next year, we'll be in the hospital for the same thing with Winter, you know. Nobody, like I said, it's not genetic, but they both got it. And I've never known anybody in my family to have it, nor Michael's, but I don't see how we get double whammied with something that's not genetic at all. You know, it just don't make sense. And I tried, I think, posting the other day. I think I posted it to the wrong page though. You know, a big long status and stuff with what happened with Riddick and how he got it removed and pictures and videos, but I believe that was my fault because I didn't see it get posted up. So I don't know if I put it right to the right autism group because I follow other ones, and I think I put it to the wrong one. That's not any of Nina's. I don't even follow them, you know. But yes, he's not allowed to do any contact physical sports, which that's unfortunate, you know, because I had plans for him, especially with how hyper he is, to do something. And it scares me. So the only time Riddick and Winter have ever been away from me in their 2 and 3 years of living is not this last January, but the January before, when me and Michael got pregnant. We didn't know. And then when I did find out, I knew something was wrong. So I went through a whole bunch of tests and we were like, oh, it's just a miscarriage. It's just a miscarriage. Well, come to find out, it was a tubular pregnancy. They missed it through ultrasounds, blood work, internal ultrasounds, and I ended up bleeding out 3 units of blood, and I needed my fallopian tube popped. Yeah, and they had to remove that. So I was in the hospital for 6 days. It was the only time I've ever been away from my kids. And it was hell. Like, I waited till the last minute to call 911 because I didn't want to leave my kids, you know. And besides that time, I've never been away from either of my children, and I have PTSD from her son passing away. So it makes it that much harder for me to let them go. And now with Riddick with his neck issues, he what was I gonna say? Lost train of thought. I'm good. With Riddick's neck issues, you know, he's nonverbal. So I'm just afraid because nobody's going to take care of him like a parent does, you know. So what if he's out on the playground and, you know, kids are mean. Another kid pushes him or he just falls off a slide or, you know, whatever. And, oh, there goes his neck. You get what I'm saying? Now I have to live with that paranoia and putting my trust into complete strangers, you know, not with just the kyphosis, but with the autism as well. And I honestly don't know how I'm going to manage that. You know, I don't know how I'm going to live without my kid here with me 24/7. So that's going to, yeah, maybe I can actually take the time for myself to get the help that I need then trying to make things better. But yeah, if I could, I would homeschool these babies, but I know it's not good for them, you know. And of course, this one's low battery. I just lost everybody's comments. But yeah, he would be in school now if it wasn't for the whole. Well, no, he would have to be medically cleared before he went back. So I mean, technically, no, he still wouldn't be in school right now. But once his neck and the whole COVID thing was done and over with, he would be. Since he's had the halo, though, I will say both my kids have always slept in a car seat. But since we went down to Boston in January, he now sleeps in a bed. In winter, her pack and play, we're getting a bed for her too. We're just waiting on everything to go through because we got them safety beds. We're like kind of zip. Everybody thinks it's a tent or a fort, but it's one of them safety ones because of his autism and escape issues. I don't think this is charging, babe, because it's dead now.
It was completely done when you started. She might not mind it pulling it.
Yeah, that is truly, you know.
No, she did.
If I skip comments, sorry, my tablet died, so I can't see what people are saying or asking.
Hold on, give it a minute, like 2-3 minutes.
Unless I catch it pop up on here. So, but yeah, we've been trying to take him outside pretty much every day since Boston, but we're in Vermont, so it's still pretty cold up here. Saturday it's going to be warm though, and it's been raining the last couple of days as well. And obviously he's a kid. You don't understand. Well, it's raining. I can't go outside. And since Boston, I don't know if he's having night terrors, if it's gas issues, if it's pain in his neck. Um, it takes 3 to 4 hours to get him to go to bed at night. He'll just sit there crying, screaming, fussing, kicking, and yeah, flare. I don't know what's wrong with him. You know, I'm thinking it's GI issues, but obviously during this time we can't bring him nowhere. And yeah, and he don't have a G tube, and I pray to God he don't get one. But all he eats is goldfish crackers and occasionally baby food. You know, like this little boy used to eat everything, and now I think it was probably about 14 to 16 months old ish, 18 months. He just gave up eating. I don't know what happened, but he would sit there and eat bagels with his dad every morning. He would eat French fries, spaghetti, like he would eat cheese. He would eat anything you put in front of him. And one morning, like legitimately, we just woke up and everything had stopped. And yeah, he went days without eating. And again, we don't know if it's an autism texture issue or if it's part of the kyphosis stuff, or again, he needs a swallow study done, or if it's something even more than that, you know. So there's a lot of still unanswered things going on with him that I hope that we can figure out soon, you know. Um, but yeah, um, there's just so much to go over. Oh, I hear a dirt bike, so if it gets loud, guys, sorry again. I live in the country, and I got dum-dums across the street, you know. So, oh, but I'll show you guys Riddick before I get off of here too. You know, I'm not sure if everybody's seen the pictures or the videos I posted, but yeah, like I said, I keep saying but yeah a lot. Sorry, nervous. You know, if you guys want to, you can follow Riddick or us on his page on Facebook, Riddick's Journey. And obviously, you wouldn't have to wait for updates for me to do it on Autism and Us. And I'm very thankful for Nina and Linda for allowing this, as well as, again, everybody here for the prayers and the comments and, you know, everything. No, he hasn't been tested for food allergies yet. But he doesn't have reactions like that. It's just now if you try to give him something, he gags or he'll, like, he fights. If it's not goldfish, even baby food, he'll fight you with. So his father usually has to hold him, and I either put a little on his lips and rub it in, or we force feed him a bite. Because I'm the type, well, you don't know if you don't like it unless you try it. So I always make him try stuff. And if you don't like it, okay, you know. But even before, if he just looks at it and it's like not goldfish or baby food, he'll start gagging like, I don't want this. But his speech therapist, she gets him to eat them little Gerber like dinner meals, you know, with the mashed potatoes, vegetables, stuff like that. It's a fight, but she gets him to eat it. Again, we just don't know if it's from the kyphosis, the autism. Who knows? it's it's very defeating and tiring, you know, especially with more than one child in the house with autism. And I really hope you guys can hear me over that dirt bike. Trying to turn the tablet on so I can check for questions. Sorry, guys. Silly. Riddick's in his bed right now. They got a little too loud, so they both went into their bed to chill. So you guys can hear me. Hold on, baby. Sorry, guys. Going on to the tablet. I'm not just trying to sit here. Thank you, Michelle. It's so hard to see. Yeah, I can't get him off a bottle. I'm trying to get him at least onto a sip. Well, he'll take a sippy cup occasionally, but not really. But I feel like without ABA, I'm never going to get him potty trained. I'm never going to get him off the bottle. There's a lot of things that, like I said, he was with him for about 6 months. That one woman did so great. Like, she worked amazing with him. Like, they connected. That was his girlfriend in his eyes. He loved her. He adored her. And there's so much stuff I need help with that I can't do myself because I'm not a professional, And I was as excited or as nervous as I am for him to go to school. I'm also excited because he'll get that more interaction. He'll get, the help that he needs from a professional, somebody that went to school for the stuff, And there's so much going on in this last 6 months, let alone the 6 months that are coming up as well. And it's hard, it really is. I think I had a status up on my own personal page last night this morning I would say, because it was 2 or 3 in the morning that we were defeated by autism again last night, I average 3 hours of sleep a night, 3 hours. Because if it's not Riddick staying up with whatever, he has going on or whatever his issues are, his sister's up because I don't know why she's got to be up every hour for a bottle, and she honestly shouldn't even be on a bottle. I think it's more of a comfort thing for her. So, yeah. But me and Riddick get, I'll say at the most 4 hours of sleep a night, I don't know what DDA services are. I don't know if it's different because I'm in a different state, or is that like respite, or because if it's respite, then I do qualify. It's just, again, my PTSD with me and my own personal fears from losing my son at 7 weeks old. I have a very hard trust issue with people, because if I could, I don't want to say allow, I don't know how to word it. If my son could die in my care, his mother and father, their protector, how could anybody else keep him safe? And I'm trying not to cry, but I'm crying now. I mean, when my son passed away, it legitimately screwed me up in the head. And, I don't even have time to take care of myself because I'm so busy taking care of everybody else. So it's hard, because you do see like kids bullying other kids, or even daycare workers or teachers doing things that they shouldn't be doing to other kids, and it just scares me that that could happen to my child. Any good parent would feel that way, I just gotta get myself right in the head to allow them kind of things to happen, And, I live for my kids. I honestly don't talk to nobody else up here besides, therapists, people that work with my children, or my gram, and like, uh, I have a good, I don't know, if I need help, I know I can go to his therapist, And like I said, his physical therapist and his occupational are the best 2 women I have ever met before in my life. And they would answer their phone 9, 10 o'clock at night if they had to, if I was calling, if they were awake themselves. I'm trying not to, you know. Thank you, Brandy. And hang on, you gotta try to get your things back on again. It's just really hard, you know, because I don't talk to anybody else. And the only people I do, thankfully, is medical staff, you know, because outside of the people that work with them, the only, like, I don't hang out with nobody, but I have doctor friends up here, nurse friends up here. So that's always good to have somebody like that on your side if you need to vent or talk or have a question, whatever. But it's still, you get what I'm saying? I feel like I'm going off track a little bit here, but I don't know. I'm trying to regain myself so I can stop crying. Let's see. Thank you, Michelle. I can try, but you know, just like I was saying, since Boston, he's always had this issue, but since we got back from Boston on Friday, to get his halo removed, he's had issues sleeping. And when he's in here crying and screaming for 3, 4 hours, and I try, you know, okay, maybe he's got gas, so I try to do whatever I can to burp him, stuff like that, or maybe his neck is in pain or his head hurts from the kyphosis and stuff like once I do everything, I like run down the list and I can actually think of, and still none of that works, that's when I feel like a failure as a parent, because he's now getting frustrated because he's trying to tell us what's wrong, but we've done everything we could think of and we can't figure it out. It just gets really hard and really frustrating, and then that's when you start to feel like a failure. You know. Yeah. Yeah, I'll have to see about that. Hey, Nikki. I know we just had this conversation last night. So it just sucks because he has autism, and more if his autism wasn't enough, you got the neurological part in the ADHD that comes with the autism, you know, but it's hard. And I try my hardest. And, you know, my kids don't need or want for anything, but it's just hard. I'm sure every one of you here know, even a regular parent, you know, without special needs child knows. So, yeah, I'm just glad that the worst I'm hoping is over for him. You know, they say as long as they catch it early enough at a younger age, there's less chances of more surgeries in the future. So there's not a guarantee that there won't be another one 3, 5, 10 years down the road, but the chances are smaller. And I'm hoping, praise the Lord, please, one and done, please, especially, you know, he don't need, children don't deserve to go through this stuff. And I don't think mentally I can handle that again, you know. Like, it was hard. Them 2 months at Boston were exhausting. It was mentally draining. It was both physically, mentally, emotionally. You know, it's really hard. Trying to see if I can get the comments up again, because I don't want people to feel like I'm missing out on them. But I'm glad he's back to himself, and I hope it stays that way. We just gotta try to get over the COVID stuff and get over the nighttime stuff, which is weird. Nap time, it takes maybe 20 minutes for him to fall asleep unless he has to go to the bathroom. You know, 2, 3 bottles, okay, I'm going to bed, but it's nighttime. It's just something about it. That's why I think maybe it's something mentally. Like he's scared of something because he has no issues at nap time. None. So, hey CJ. I can't see the rest of your name. Sorry. Now I can't breathe out my nose because I was crying. I told myself not to. But it feels good to, be a part of a amazing group with other parents, guardians, whoever. Every situation is different with autism, but at least they know and they understand no matter how different that journey is with their child or loved one. They know. And again, I can't thank you guys and everybody a part of the groups, the admins, the moderators, everybody. Thank you so much for being there these last few months with us. If you guys give me 1 minute, I will show you Riddick, and then I'll get off here. I just want to check your comments real quick. And again, if you guys want to follow our son on his journey, just go on Facebook to Riddick's Journey, and there he is. Click follow and everything like that. We try to go live at least every other day, because especially if there's nothing to do with, weather permitting, it's kind of boring seeing us in the same room, the same house. We can't go anywhere, so it's not like we can, go to the park or just go somewhere different for you guys, Yeah, you can. I'm going to show them him in a minute. I guess when I'm here.
I'm like outside.
Well, I'm about to get off.
Huh?
No. Thank you, Loriana. But yeah, again, sorry for bouncing all over the place and being emotional. I'm sure I left a lot out, and I'm hoping in the future I can do another one of these and I won't be as nervous. Like when I go on for his page, I'm a lot better, but this is a different group. It's a lot more people. We've only had 700, followers for Riddick's Journey. Well, a little over 700, say like 720. So, and I've never liked being in front of a camera before. Never liked talking about my feelings, emotions, what's going on. I'm a very private person, so hey, I'm here, I did it, and that's only because you guys have helped us get through this since even before just January, before he had his surgeries and stuff. I'm going to try to switch it to him real quick. Hold on to see if I can flip it. All right. Hold on, I'm all tied up here. Like I said, hold on, guys. For those of you who haven't seen or heard of him before, this is Riddick. He's my 3-year-old nonverbal autistic son who had, I guess you would say, severe cervical kyphosis, who just had his halo removed that he's had on since January.
So like 2 or 3 steel rods in his neck now?
Yeah, he's got 2 or 3 steel rods in his neck now. He's got a cadaver bone. See if I can show you scars. Look at those. He had 8 screws in his head with the halos. You got your shoes. Let's not put them in your mouth, baby. Yep, he's got to wear that collar for 6 weeks. He's definitely been through a lot his 3 years,
Go out to the playground for a minute.
Well, I was raised by my grandparents, Mariana, and my grandfather, like my grandmother works, and my grandfather was always home, and he was born in 1925, and he always told me, you don't show emotions, it's a sign of weakness, that means you're a weak person. So I've always had that mentality, and I get where he's coming from. But I also get where it screws me up because I'm a nutcase, like not a nutcase, but I need mental help for a lot of things, and I won't allow myself to get them because of the way I was brought up. But
Too much.
see if he'll jump for you guys. Usually that's all he does. He's about to go outside with Daddy before it gets too dark, though. They at first told us they weren't going to take much of his hair, and then come surgery, oh, we're going to shave just a little bit. Well, they shaved a lot underneath. He had the prettiest, blondest, curliest hair. And again, with autism, you don't like people near his face, and since he's gotten the halo on, he has no trust to allow people near his face. You can't blame him, so I don't even know how I'm going to fix his hair that they screwed up. Hi, baby. I'm going to go outside. And I know I've said it like 3-4 times already, guys, but thank you so much for being there. It definitely means a lot. Hi, baby. You're so silly. You cracked your knuckle. I heard that. You hit it and cracked it. You silly boy. It's cold out. You gonna go outside? Yeah. But yeah, I'll go through later and look at the comments, see if I missed anything. And if I did, I'll go back and try to comment on them for you guys. And sorry for jumping around. Thank you for watching. And hopefully you guys will go on Facebook and follow Riddick's Journey. And, be a part of our family on there as well. And I hope you guys have a good night. And thank you.